Breaking. Lisa Weiss just dropped a shocking new statement that exposes the truth about Weiss and Joni Lamb like never before. Secrets are unraveling, and the real story behind their messy split is coming to light. What Lisa reveals will change everything you thought you knew about their relationship. Don't miss this explosive update. Watch now to get the full, shocking truth before anyone else. Divorce is one of the hardest experiences a person can go through. It's not just the legal separation or the end of a relationship. It's an emotional and spiritual struggle that leaves people feeling torn, confused, and often broken. The reality is, divorce is a no-win situation for everyone involved. Nobody really comes out unscathed, and that's part of why many believe God doesn't like divorce. It's messy, painful, and full of difficult choices. When you're in the middle of it, there's a deep internal conflict. You want to be a good person, to do right by everyone. You want to be liked, to be fair. But the truth is, when divorce enters your life, it's impossible to please everyone. You may find yourself torn between your spouse and someone else, a new person who is different, maybe exciting, but also confusing. You have to face the reality that you've been building dreams with both people. With your spouse, there were plans, retirement, kids going to college, a future you imagined together. With the other person, there might have been different dreams, vacations, new experiences, a fresh start. This duality creates a powerful struggle inside. You have to ask yourself, why is this affair or new relationship so important to me? What am I really seeking? Often it's not just about love or connection. Sometimes it's about lust, the desire for something that God has not given to you. Lust is tricky because it promises happiness or fulfillment, but ultimately leads to pain and brokenness. Ending a marriage or an affair is never easy. There's grief for what once was, confusion about what went wrong, and fear of the unknown future. Spiritually, people wrestle with feelings of guilt, shame, and disappointment. They wonder if they have failed in God's eyes. The weight of these emotions can be overwhelming. The pain doesn't come just from losing a partner. It's also about losing the vision you had for your life. The dreams you built with someone over years suddenly feel shattered. You might question your worth, your faith, and your purpose. These feelings are natural and part of the human experience. At the same time, there's a desire to hold on to hope and healing. Even in the darkest moments, many find strength in their faith. They look to scriptures, to God's promises, for comfort and guidance. They understand that healing takes time and that it's okay to grieve at their own pace. It's not about rushing to move on or pretending everything is fine. It's about facing the pain honestly, allowing yourself to feel it, and trusting that with time, restoration is possible. Divorce is also about learning to guard your heart. Proverbs reminds us that everything flows from the heart, so protecting it is essential. When your heart is broken or distracted, even your best intentions can lead you astray. Recognizing this is the first step toward finding peace. In the end, the emotional and spiritual struggle of divorce is a complex journey. It involves pain, loss, self-reflection, and faith. It reminds us that behind every story of separation are real people trying to make sense of life's hardest moments. It calls for compassion for ourselves and others as we navigate the difficult path toward healing and hope.
Joni Lamb called me. It's the biggest shock to me when Joni called me. She wasn't the Joni off television. She was fit to be tied. She was angry. She was even upset that I would say nice things about her son because she said, Jonathan is trying to kill me. And I said, he's trying to kill you. And she said, he's destroying the company. He's destroying us. He's destroying me. And I said, no, Joni, something very bad has happened. And there's been an essay and all of this. Oh, no. And then she defended Pete. He's hurt Pete so much. The Pete that Rebecca and JW wrote a huge letter about, that Pete. The Pete that Rebecca and JW won't let into their home, that Pete is a good guy. She said that Susie was a pathological liar and that she had made these accusations against a very nice man, the chiropractor, who is deceased now, but has a record and attacked her. So I was in shock what Joni was saying to me. I implored her. I said, please reconcile with Jonathan for yourself. That would be the hope. I saw that side of her. I can only say it's nothing like the Joni on television. It's nothing like that sweet person. But I did see that person somewhat in the video where she was talking about Jonathan has been conducting a smear campaign. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I hadn't seen Jonathan conducting a smear campaign. I'd seen Jonathan in turmoil.
Lisa Weiss's story is one of enduring love, sudden heartbreak, and a very public unraveling that shocked many who knew her and her former husband, Doug Weiss. For over 30 years, Lisa and Doug shared a life together, building a family, raising children, and facing life's ups and downs side by side. Their marriage was more than just a relationship. It was a partnership grounded in faith and shared dreams. They were not just spouses, but teammates who had weathered storms together, supporting each other through thick and thin. To the outside world, Lisa and Doug seemed like a perfect ministry couple. Doug was well known as a marriage counselor, speaker, and author, someone who helped thousands of couples save and strengthen their marriages. His advice was rooted in his own experience, which made him a credible and trusted figure. Lisa stood quietly beside him, supporting his ministry and being a visible example of the strong, faithful wife he often spoke about. Together, they were a symbol of enduring love and commitment, a living testimony to the principles they preached. But as many know, no marriage is without its struggles. Behind the scenes, cracks began to form in their relationship. Lisa later shared that one of the biggest challenges was the emotional distance that grew between them. Over time, Doug became less present, not just physically but emotionally. He was increasingly focused on his ministry work, speaking engagements, and public image. The demands of his career pulled him away from the marriage, and Lisa felt herself slowly fading into the background. This wasn't about one big fight or an explosive argument. It was about the quiet, painful feeling of being invisible in your own marriage. Emotional distance can hurt more than any argument because it steals the connection and intimacy that keep a relationship alive. Lisa described this slow disconnection as heartbreaking. She felt lonely in the very partnership that was supposed to bring her comfort and companionship. While Doug poured himself into helping others save their marriages, Lisa's own marriage was quietly unraveling, in with someone who helps others, but who isn't able to be fully present with you. The public nature of Doug's ministry made everything harder for Lisa. When your spouse is a well-known figure in Christian circles, your private struggles quickly become public knowledge. People talk, rumors spread, opinions form. Lisa found herself facing not only the pain of her failing marriage, but also the pressure of public scrutiny. That kind of heartbreak, played out in the spotlight, is uniquely difficult. Then, almost unexpectedly, came the public announcement of their divorce. For many, this was a shock. How could a man who preached about forgiveness, patience, and lifelong commitment end a marriage of 3 decades? People were confused, but many still offered grace, understanding that everyone faces hard seasons in life. Divorce is never easy, and no one's story is simple. What shocked people even more was how quickly Doug moved on. Just months after their separation, Doug remarried, this time to Joni Lamb, co-founder of Dayar Television Network, a significant figure in the Christian media world. This rapid transition left many viewers and followers feeling confused and hurt. Where was the time for reflection, for healing? The speed of it all raised uncomfortable questions about when Doug's relationship with Joni had actually begun. Lisa's feelings about this were deeply personal and raw. She wasn't bitter or angry, but she was blindsided. After investing decades of her life into a marriage, she watched as Doug started a new chapter so quickly. That pain of feeling replaced overnight struck a chord with many people who had experienced similar losses. Lisa's honesty about her hurt gave voice to those quiet heartbreaks many endure but rarely speak about openly. She spoke openly about the emotional distance that had grown long before the divorce, the feeling of being ignored, forgotten, and left behind. She explained how Doug's ministry and public image became a higher priority than their relationship, and that she felt like she was no longer a partner, but an outsider. This kind of loneliness is devastating, especially when you've built your life around someone. Lisa also shared how hard it was to grieve such a profound loss under the intense gaze of public attention. When your life is broadcast to the world, your pain becomes a spectacle, making healing even more challenging. Yet, amidst her sorrow, Lisa found strength in her faith. She drew comfort from Scripture and the belief that healing was possible, even when life seemed to fall apart. Lisa's story reminds us that behind every public figure are real people with real struggles. It's a tale of love, loss, and the courage it takes to rebuild after heartbreak. While Doug's public persona was that of a marriage expert, Lisa's experience showed the messy, painful reality behind the scenes. Her willingness to speak out, not from bitterness but from a place of honesty, has touched many. It has opened conversations about the challenges of marriage, the impact of emotional distance, and the difficulty of navigating personal pain in the public eye. Lisa's journey is a testament to resilience and hope, a reminder that even when a marriage ends, healing and new beginnings are possible. In sharing her truth, Lisa has given strength to others facing similar heartbreaks. She shows that it's okay to grieve, to feel lost, and to take time to heal. Her story is a powerful example of the human side of ministry leaders, a side often hidden behind the public image. It calls for compassion, understanding, and the recognition that even those who teach about love and commitment can face their own struggles. Ultimately, Lisa Weiss's story is not just about a marriage ending. It's about the real, complicated emotions that come with it. The hope, the pain, the confusion, and the strength to move forward. It's a story that resonates because it's honest, vulnerable, and deeply human. The public reaction to Doug Weiss and Joni Lamb's relationship has been a mix of surprise, confusion, support, and a fair amount of skepticism. When news broke that Doug, who had just ended a marriage of over 30 years, had remarried Joni Lamb, a prominent figure in Christian media and the widow of Marcus Lamb, it sent shockwaves through the Christian community and beyond. People were trying to make sense of how such a rapid transition could happen and what it meant for the values that both Doug and Joni had long preached. For many, the first reaction was surprise. After witnessing Doug and Lisa's divorce become public, it seemed sudden that Doug would enter a new marriage so quickly. The speed of the remarriage raised eyebrows because it felt like there was little time for reflection, healing, or processing what had ended. In many cultures, especially within faith communities, there's an expectation that such life-changing decisions come after a period of mourning and self-examination. Doug and Joni's quick engagement and wedding seemed to some like a rush, a leap into a new chapter without allowing the past to settle. This rapid transition led to a lot of questions. When did Doug and Joni's relationship actually begin? Was there an overlap while Doug was still married to Lisa? Had their friendship and professional relationship developed into something deeper before the divorce was finalized? Since Doug and Joni had known each other for years, working within the same Christian circles, these questions felt natural. But because no clear timeline was provided, speculation ran wild. People wondered if the public had been kept in the dark about what was really happening behind the scenes. Some members of the community expressed support, believing that sometimes life moves quickly and that people find comfort in each other during difficult seasons. Joni and Doug both spoke publicly about how their shared grief and faith brought them together. They described their relationship as one of healing and hope, a new beginning after painful losses. For those who supported them, the relationship was a testimony to God's ability to restore and bring joy even after heartbreak. However, not everyone was convinced. Skepticism ran high among many, especially given Doug's role as a marriage counselor and author who had spent decades preaching about commitment, forgiveness, and patience in relationships. The suddenness of his remarriage felt at odds with the values he had long taught. Some questioned whether the swift new relationship undercut his credibility and raised doubts about his personal integrity. The fact that Joni Lamb was not just any partner but a key figure in Christian media added another layer of complexity. As co-founder of Day television network, Joni wielded significant influence within the Christian community. Some people wondered if Doug's decision to marry Joni was influenced by her status and power in the ministry world. Was this new relationship partly about joining forces in media and ministry, rather than purely about love and companionship? These questions fueled further debate and fueled rumors. Joni's role also brought attention to how personal and professional lives can intertwine, especially in high-profile ministries. When two well-known figures in the same community come together quickly after significant life changes, it's natural for people to scrutinize motives and timing. Some worried that this swift union could reflect deeper issues about how power and relationships operate in Christian media circles. Public reaction also included concerns about the impact on followers and clients who looked up to Doug for marriage advice. Many people who had trusted him felt blindsided. For years, Doug had been a beacon of hope for couples facing challenges. His books, seminars, and counseling sessions helped many. But learning about his quick remarriage left some feeling betrayed, wondering how someone who advised so strongly about commitment could move on so fast. Some former clients spoke out, saying they felt deceived. They had received marriage counseling from Doug during the time he was separating from Lisa, unaware that his own marriage was ending. To them, it was a painful realization that their counselor might not have been living the values he preached. This raised ethical questions about honesty and transparency in ministry counseling. The online Christian community became a space for heated discussions, with forums, social media groups, and podcasts debating the situation. Some defended Doug and Joni, urging grace and understanding. Others criticized the couple for what they saw as a lack of accountability and respect for the past marriage. The debate often centered on the balance between human imperfection and the standards expected from spiritual leaders. One key point of discussion was the lack of clear communication from Doug and Joni about their relationship timeline. Silence or vague statements only deepened mistrust. People wanted honesty, a clear explanation of the sequence of events, and reassurance that nothing inappropriate had happened. Without that clarity, speculation continued to grow. The controversy also touched on broader themes about how public figures in ministry handle personal failures. Many acknowledged that no one is perfect and that even leaders face struggles, but there was a call for greater transparency and humility. When leaders share their challenges openly, it can strengthen their witness and help others feel less alone. Conversely, when stories are hidden or edited, it can erode trust. Joni Lamb's public statements about their relationship focused on faith, healing, and divine timing. She spoke about finding comfort in shared grief and how their connection grew naturally through prayer and support. For some, this narrative helped soften the criticism and allowed space for hope. But for others, it didn't fully address the concerns about timing and motives. The public's mixed reactions reflect the complexity of human relationships and the high expectations placed on spiritual leaders. Love and loss are messy, and when they play out under public scrutiny, the emotions are magnified. Doug and Joni's relationship became a focal point for these tensions, between grace and judgment, between personal privacy and public accountability. In the end, the questions raised by their quick remarriage and public presence remain unresolved for many. Was this relationship truly a healing journey born out of pain? Or was it a strategic alliance within Christian media? Did the public receive an honest portrayal of the timeline, or was the story shaped to protect reputations? These are not easy questions, but they are important ones for a community that values integrity. As the story continues, many watch closely, hoping for more openness and truth. They want leaders to be honest about their journeys, the good, the bad, and the complicated. The public's reaction is a reminder that trust is fragile, and that transparency is key to rebuilding it. Doug and Joni's relationship has sparked a conversation about how faith leaders live their lives and the impact those lives have on the people who follow them. Ultimately, this situation highlights the human side of ministry leaders. They are not immune to mistakes, heartbreak, or difficult choices. But how they handle those moments, especially when the world is watching, shapes not only their legacy, but also the faith of those who look to them for guidance. The public's response to Doug and Joni's relationship is a reflection of the desire for honesty, accountability, and authenticity in a world that often demands perfection from its leaders, but seldom allows room for human imperfection. The impact of the Doug Weiss and Joni Lamb situation on DAR television network, its leadership, and the broader community trust has been significant and far-reaching. DAR, known for being a cornerstone of Christian media, built its reputation on strong family values, faith, and spiritual guidance. For decades, millions of viewers around the world turned to DAR for encouragement, biblical teachings, and inspiration. At the heart of this respected platform was Joni Lamb, the co-founder and a well-known face in the Christian community. Her personal life, especially her marriage to Doug Weiss, became intertwined with the network's public image, making the fallout from their relationship more than just a private matter. It became a public crisis for the entire network. DAR's leadership has always been seen as a symbol of stability and moral authority. Marcus Lamb, Joni's late husband and co-founder of DAR, was a towering figure who helped shape the network's identity and mission. When Marcus passed away, many believed that Joni and the leadership team would continue to uphold the network's values with integrity and faithfulness. However, the controversy surrounding Joni's relationship with Doug Weiss, coupled with Doug's very public divorce from Lisa Weiss, challenged that belief in unexpected ways. One of the first and most obvious impacts was the loss of community trust. Dayar's audience expected the leadership to model the very principles they preached: faithfulness, transparency, and accountability. When news surfaced about the rapid remarriage of Doug and Joni, many felt these expectations were not being met. Viewers wondered how the leadership, which promoted lifelong commitment and strong marriages, could so quickly move past such a significant personal upheaval. This disconnect between what was preached and what was practiced caused confusion and disappointment. The trust issue extended beyond just the marriage drama. Viewers and industry observers began to question the decision-making processes within Dayar. The firing of Jonathan Lamb, Joni's own son, added to the sense that personal conflicts and family drama were seeping into the professional sphere. Jonathan had been an important part of Dayar's operations, and his departure was seen by many as a troubling sign that family disagreements might be affecting the network's stability and governance. This raised concerns about whether personal loyalties were influencing business decisions, potentially harming the network's mission and reputation. Moreover, the network's handling of content related to Doug Weiss further damaged public confidence. The mysterious disappearance of old episodes, interviews, and other material featuring Doug left many viewers feeling that the network was hiding something.